So I asked you to take our existing program and add a fourth potion to it, and also to use a for loop to loop over the array. This is a really common thing to do when you're working with arrays. For loops are kind of built for this kind of operation. They're kind of intended for looping over a known number of things. And so arrays are a really good partner to using for loops for. So I asked you guys to add a fourth one. I'm going to actually delete all of this just to show you we can add a fourth element here by just increasing the number of potion packages that we have. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what happens when you don't follow the rules too, and you actually start adding elements that you're not allowed to, like that go outside the bounds, because that's something you have to really keep in mind. So here are my potion costs, and I'm going to add a potion that has a package that has 10 potions in it, and it costs 40 cents per potion. Now, I have to increase the count here up to 4 and add my fourth package here, and then I add a fourth element here and make it 40. This right here can be 4 or 10. It could be 100. It can be exactly how many you need, but it cannot be less than the number that you have. You're not actually allowed to initialize an array with more elements than the array can hold. So I'm going to make this thing 4 to match how many potion packages we have. So let's just do a brief review of how for loops work. Because what I want to do is I want to write a for loop that loops 4 times, one for each potion package that I have. And I just want to print out, I'm going to print out the variable I every time I go through the loop. This is just to show what actually is happening inside of a for loop. So if you see I wrote a for loop that goes up 4 times, you can see my I variable goes from 0, goes up to 1, 2, and 3. When I'm accessing an array, I have a couple of options. I could print out all the potion packages by doing potion package at 0, and I can copy this 4 times. So look at what I'm doing here. I'm printing out the elements of the potion package outside the for loop. I'm doing 4 separate lines of code. And so I get 7, 8, 6, and 10. Can you guys tell like how all of the values here are the same? The entire lines of code are identical with the exception of this number right here. This number right here is changing with each new line of code that I write. I'm starting at 0 and I'm literally writing 1, 2, 3. And look inside my loop now, and you see I have a variable called I, which starts at 0, goes up to 1, 2, 3. So when I see this, I say, hey, I see a lot of duplicated behavior, and the only thing that's changing is this number here. Well, it turns out that you can actually use a variable inside this array as well. It doesn't have to be a single number. You can just index into this array with any variable that you want to. So if I look at this and I see that 0, 1, 2, 3 is the value that is changing between each line of code, and I notice that my I variable here is also changing every time I go through this loop, what I can do is take this whole thing, and if I just replace this with the variable I, and I put this inside of the loop here, I can print out the value of my potion package every time through the loop. So look at my output here. I have I equals 0 the first time through the loop. So when I'm doing the cout on the potion package, this value for I is actually 0 when I'm printing it out. I increment the loop and I say I is equal to 1 now, and then I print out the value of potion package at index 1. I've effectively written what I had above this for loop, where I had 4 lines of code, all in one single line of code here. You can see that this is almost the same as what I had written before. Look, compare these 2 lines of code. Compare like these 4 with this one right here. The only difference between these 4 and this line here is that I'm using the variable I inside of the array index, which is why I make a loop that goes over it 4 times and then prints out the elements in the array. Now that I can print out all 4 elements in the potion package, I want to add them all up together. I want to add 7, 8, 6, and 10 up together. So when I print these out, I know that I have a variable with an index I that gets me the value of how many elements are in this array. I'm sorry, how many potions are in this element. So I can create a variable called sum, and making sure that this is outside a loop. I can say sum is equal to the sum of potion package at I, sum plus the potion package at I. I'm using the same thing I'm doing to print it out, except now I'm actually just adding them up together. Okay? And remember, this is also a shorthand version of it, where you can just do sum plus equals. Once you have this variable, you can just print it out outside a loop once you're done. It's going to go through this loop 4 times, adding up each potion to the sum, and then I'll print that out at the end. You can see here it added up 7, 8, 6, and 10 and gave me the total number of potions here. Okay. For adding up the total cost is very similar. I'm going to write another for loop. I'm actually going to duplicate this and put it at the bottom. Instead of potion package here, this is going to be potion costs, like so. And I'm just going to print out the potion costs through this second loop. So I'm going to see how much it costs for each potion inside that package. Oops. Put an ANDL here. It's the same exact idea. I have the same loop, except now I'm printing out 20, 30, 5, and 40. And the way that I'm going to actually use these values is I'm going to take these costs, I'm going to multiply them by the number of potions that are in each package. So I'm going to take potion package at I times the potion cost, and this is what I'm going to print out here. So now this is going to get me the cost of the total cost for that package. So the first package has 7 potions in it, and it costs 20 gold per potion. So it's 140 for that one. The next one is going to be 30 times 8, which is 240, and then 5 times 6, which is 30, and then 40 times 10, which is 400. This is the cost of the total package. Using the same idea, I can create a variable which is the total cost. I can set it equal to 0, and I can say total cost is plus equal to this right here. And then I can print this out at the end. Like so. And now I can see that the total cost for all potions is 810. It's adding up all of these together. All right. I'm going to put this up on Zool here. So you guys want it to take home, you can. And I want to spend a little bit of time on this this next portion. We're actually going to do a simple exercise here, and this is something that we're going to do when we get back from break. But I'm going to have you guys see what I'm working on, so we can do it together. So we're going to do, after a break, we're going to do a simple tic-tac-toe program. It's going to be kind of a non-interactive tic-tac-toe board. However, it's going to leverage something that we did a little bit when we talked about loops, but we're going to combine them with arrays. So we're going to do what are called nested loops. So we've actually done nested loops once before, but we're going to use them with the concept of a multi-dimensional array. So there's some food for thought. This right here, this tic-tac-toe board, starts with those X's and O's in the right place, and then we put one tic-tac-toe X in the second row, first column here. And then we print it out and we say X wins. So what I'm going to have you guys do before you go on break is I want you to pair up with a partner and play one game of tic-tac-toe with a partner. But I want you to remember the order of moves that you made. So every time you make a move, I want you to put a little number next to that move inside the square. Because what I'm going to have you guys do is I'm going to have you guys recreate your game on the tic-tac-toe board. Okay? So before you go, find a partner, play tic-tac-toe with them. And if you don't win, that's fine. Just do it really quick. If you don't have a partner, I will play tic-tac-toe with you. You can use MS Paint too. Like, MS Paint is totally fine. It's probably easier. If you guys need a partner, I'm here. And the goal is that when you make a mark here, I want you to put a little number that represents the index of the move. So see how I'm starting at 0, 1, 2. Just remember the count. Because what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you recreate the moves in C++. Okay? So find a partner, play with him. So you guys partner up. Mike, do you want to partner up with me?
Sure.
Okay. Why don't you go first? Okay. Perfect.
Oh, that's right. 6. I forgot to write it.
Oh, 1, 2, 3. So that's a win, right?
Yep, so that's it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so I want you guys to go on break. Get back by 10:30, please, today, and then we'll wrap this up once you're done with tic-tac-toe. And then we're going to do this work in class. Yeah, that's actually perfect. If you have empty spaces, that's fine. Because
You gotta take 2 songs as well.
I was wondering how you're gonna do it.
Does it matter if you get a CAT scan or not?
what?
A CAT scan?
No one's
CAT
nice.
scan?
CAT scan.
Oh. No, it's fine. It's actually good. Just save that, go on break, and do that.
Also,
Okay. We're going to have to email because I'm going to get the final on next week. So it's going to essentially be, we're going to be making tic-tac-toe. So you're going to hear from Ken, right? Are you going to be able to email me the homework or the final by yeah, that's fine. So remind me on week 10. While I'm giving out finals, normally what we do anyway in week 11 is I let people work on finals in class, and then we'll do something fun, and I'll give out like a prize or like a fun little game or something like that. So it's probably fine. Week 11 is probably the best class in this, if you would, in this one anyway. So you can just turn it, just make sure you know it.
So the only time you change the integer for a for loop is when it's nested, right?
Oh, you mean where you declare it, see how it's I and J?
Yeah.
Yeah, when it's nested, you can't use the same integer. Because actually, that's a very common bug. That like you'll accidentally reuse the same integer, you know?
Because I noticed when you typed it out for the other one, you use I twice.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as it's not
as long as
nested,
they're not nested.
because it's living only